So I've been kicking the tires on another digital tool called Logseq. No, I'm not abandoning Obsidian at all. I actually use Obsidian for my knowledge management, and this is probably the biggest benefit that I've gotten from using two separate tools. Now, it seems kind of silly to use more tools, but one thing that I've realized in the digital minimalism journey is that there's a lot of power in single purpose tools. There's still use for a camera versus, the camera on your smartphone. And the biggest benefit that I've seen in using these two digital tools is a clear separation between what I call my digital journal and my knowledge base. Other people, Ramsey, he is now the community manager for Logseq. He has the same opinion, at least to a degree, where that separation is very, very useful. And what I'm going to walk through in this video is how I'm using Logseq for that digital journal. And I will leave the knowledge management in Obsidian for another video. Logseq is very heavily influenced by Roam Research. So every day you get a journal note, just very much like Obsidian, you get a daily note. And it doesn't look like this. It's blank when you start. This is my time blocking template that's been filled out, and I'll just walk you through that briefly. I've got another video that you can watch on time blocking if you're interested. But it starts with daily metrics. So these are the lead measurements of goals, my daily things that know that I've left the day better than I was, or more knowledgeable than I was. And that's to write 250 words a day, take 3 notes, and to read 25 pages. So these are kind of what I call the writer's flywheel for me in my project that I'm working on. And then I have the shutdown ritual. And then the next little heading here, this is an H2. You can see how when I click on it, the markdown comes up. So this is another benefit of using Logseq with Obsidian, is because they both rely on local markdown files. And you can actually link, you can link Logseq files in Obsidian, and the reverse is true. You can link Obsidian files in Logseq, which is super useful for outlining, and I'll show you that later. But here's my tasks. These are tasks that come up during the day. If they're urgent, they'll fit into the time blocker. If they're not urgent, they'll go here. One really cool thing about Logseq is you can do a later now type approach. So if I do later test, and then I do /now test, you'll see down at the bottom I have this, where's it now? So right here are tasks now. So it will append all the now tasks to your current note, whatever that journal entry is for the day. And then later actually becomes a keyword or another page that's dynamically populated that you can see. And to pull that up, you can just pull up the search, go to the later page, because this is already pre-created for you, and you can see all the days that link. So here's my test from today, January 20th, 2022, and I can click it and it'll go away. But I use this to kind of remind me of things. So I have a free day off from leadership, and so I was like, you know what, I should kind of speak with my wife first and then see if I can take an entire day off and just write for one day. This is actually a recommendation that came from a friend of mine on Twitter. Was you should just see how many words you can write in a day if you wrote all day. If you just took 100, like a 8-hour day, and you wrote every single day, or every single minute of the day, if you could stretch yourself. And then recalculate operating expenses for the LLC that I have for my side projects. I need to do that, but it's not important. Tax season's coming up, so I review this once a week. I'll talk about that in the plan ahead. So this is just a nice way for me to dynamically generate stuff that I know I need to do, but just not now. So back to the planner. And then there's the notes, and these are just the fleeting notes. It's the scratch space for the day. Just if I were away from the computer, I would have a physical notebook, a pocket field notes book that I would write notes in. But this is just where I kind of do brain dumping and take fleeting notes. So it's a scratch space. And then the most important part is the time block. So the time block is just, hours of my working day and what I'm going to do. So I had a one-on-one with my skip level this morning, and then my next little task today is to create some slides for a workshop that I'll be helping do next week for internal training. And then I have another meeting, what I call the writer's room. A friend and I meet and we just talk about our writing. That's at noon. But I just plan my day here. What's nice though is you get the satisfaction of clicking the done button, and then it goes off your list. So that's more or less the time blocking. That's not specific to Logseq. What's really interesting though is this is a block level tool versus Obsidian is kind of the note level. And I think that's what makes this particular tool so great about being a digital journalist, because you get to, it's so much more flexible and fluid than Obsidian is, but then you lose kind of like the the information architecture. So Obsidian is great for the information architecture, and then this is great for kind of the chaos of the day and containing all the fleeting notes and just the miscellaneous things that you want to do, very much, again, like the bullet journal would be by Writer Carol. So what does it mean by block level? That's what it means. Every single bullet is a block that I can go into and just focus in on. So that was kind of the problem with the daily note in Obsidian is if I were to log a lot of or write a lot of notes in there, it would just kind of be really difficult to read because it's all on this one page. You can see even this is quite a bit of information, but I am allowed to block or, minimize them. Obsidian could do that. But what Obsidian could not do is if I wanted to focus in on just the notes for the day and continue to write, maybe I want to do morning pages in here or something like that, I could even take it a step further and go morning pages and create another bullet and just have that. And I can infinitely do that. And this is amazing for outlining again, which I'll show you shortly. So that's kind of how I orient my day. Now, a lot of times what I'll do, you can see here that I have hyperlinks, not hyperlinks, but I have links to other notes for the things that I'm going to do because I have a workspace already captured in Logseq for this. So if we go into the content camp, which is something that I'm putting together, so you can see in here that I have links to documents that are supporting this work. This is my project note essentially in Logseq for this particular work. But I have all these sessions and I needed to pre-record them. So I have a script block of what I was going to say. And so I recorded them and I'm able to highlight and all that stuff and focus in on individual blocks. And then if I go back up, you can see I can get this high level overview. But this is all linked within my daily journal note planner. And then I can even do due dates and stuff like that, which brings me to the next really awesome feature of this, which is you can stage work. You don't have to plan the day. So sometimes in Obsidian, what I would do is I would go to the next week's Tuesday and I would start to fill out the planner, which was a little heavy-handed instead of just remind me to do these things next Tuesday. One really interesting way to do that or helpful way is to have another note called the week ahead. So this is, again, heavily influenced from Cal Newport's time blocking planner. So essentially what I have is every day has a bullet or a heading, and then I plan my day. Now what's interesting, and I won't be able to show you this until the day. Well, actually I could do this. So today is Thursday, I can do this. So if I go today or date picker, I can choose what day I want these tasks to show up on. So if I click this and I say record video on Logseq. So now I have that. So if I go back to my journal now, I have the week ahead. And here is my deadline. And then I have another one. So this is next because it's got a different button. But the week ahead, here's the Thursday note. So you can see every part of the note of the week ahead that is referencing today would be in here. So this is how I stage my work. At the end of the week on Friday, I review everything. I fill out my days that I want to do different tasks, usually moving them from tasks of journal notes into the planner. And then I put them underneath the Thursday, whatever day it is, in this case, Thursday heading. And then I pick the date that it'll show up. So then when I go to do my planning for the day, I can just copy this up and put it into my tasks or put it into my planner. Maybe I can create a 9:30 or something like that here and put that task there. And then that actually removes it from this note. So it's not duplicate. It's not in the weekly planner, and I'm actually not moving any text. I'm not copying and duplicating it. This is actually cutting it from that note because this is embedded. This is just a preview of that section of the note. It's the block level. Again, that's the benefit is you don't have to see the entire note. You can just see blocks within inside the note, and that's fantastic for this type of work. So now that I've had that, that's kind of the planner and the weekly note. Is there any other cool things that I would like to show you? The outline. So the manuscript, if I can spell correctly, this has actually been the missing link in a lot of my translation from my knowledge base notes into writing is this outline. And I don't know why that didn't dawn on me sooner. But if you look at here, this is the kind of the section. Well, let's zoom out a little bit. So I have a note for the manuscript that I'm working on, and then I have a heading for the outline. So if you click on the outline, this is just the outline. Part 1 is side effects of usage, detach from distraction, and then cultivate a beautiful mind. And you can see that I can dive into any one of these at a given time and keep zooming in the book. And this is really, really awesome compared to any other kind of note, right? This block level really helps you zoom in on whatever it is that you want to focus on without having to have them connected in a kind of a decentralized way. It's like decentralized but centralized. It's fantastic. But the chapter that I'm working on right now is Revive the Linear Mind, and I'm writing a section called The 4 Laws of Habit Change Applied to Reading. And so this is actually what I do before I begin writing, usually at the end of the day at nighttime before I fall asleep, or in the morning right before I write as I review my outline so I know kind of where I am. And you can see here that each of the main points now, so I'm in a part of a book, which is Cultivate a Beautiful Mind, Revive the Linear Mind is the chapter, and then I have the outline for that chapter, and now I can see that I'm in the major part or major point section of the book, and then I have the main points underneath that that I can use to write. So that conclusively, I suppose, is how I'm currently using it. There isn't a lot of overlap yet, except for I will link cards into the outline. So if we just go back a second, I think if I go to build a lattice work of knowledge, I have a note here. So this is actually a note that I took from the Shallows. This exists in my Obsidian vault. It's integrated in my knowledge base, but I can link it here in my outline. So that way I can use them in that fashion. The last thing that I'll show you is how I'm managing collections. So there is a notion of a tag, but every time that you create a tag, it actually creates a page for it. And one of them that I have that has been really useful in this is a read later. So you inevitably stumble upon things that you want to read, but you don't have time or energy or motivation to read them now or consume them. And so I've created this read later tag. So if I just do read later, we can do that. So maybe, what was a book that just came up today? So Subtract was the idea. And that came up in my skip level meeting that I had this morning. So maybe it's just Subtract. I want to jot that down quick. Should actually move this to notes because it's not really a task unless I say by Subtract. But anyway, this read later then becomes its own page. So if I click on here are all my read later notes. So this completely dynamically generates this list. It tells me what day that I had it, which might be relevant if there may be more notes. Like I know they mentioned Subtract, but then we also had notes that I didn't capture anywhere. I can have that anchor. Another one that came up on Twitter was the messy middle, but you can see that you can actually add more tags. So I can put this as a book or books. Or if you look down here, I have, this was tagged as an article. This is tagged as a book, make it stick. And then another one, which was a blog post series on writing, which would be useful. So I tagged it with writing. Now, this is where that's cool and useful is if you add the multiple tags together, you can use them as filters. So another thing that I've been doing is finding really useful Golang tutorials and then filtering here. So if I do Golang and close that down, here are all my read laters for Golang, or I could filter by books and I would see that. So this is a really nice way that you can build a collection. Again, heavily influenced my bullet journaling, heavily influenced my thinking here, where you dedicate a page or spread to a particular collection and you just, you rapid log in there or whatever it might be, move them from your daily planner to this, but this automatically handles it for you. So yeah. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found this was useful and it kind of convinced you to give Logseq a try. I think it's a phenomenal tool and it works really well with Obsidian. So with that, thanks for watching and have a great day.